Alright, kind of a quick video to the Modern Mystic. Yeah, I'll try to make it quick. He tried to make his quick. Just kind of on the subject of what it takes to make conversational or discussion style or philosophical type videos on subjects to expand conversation subjects. To direct them, point them, get them somewhere, and in some way that's coherent and not what was I pausing and thinking while you're making a video, to have it flow out of you. So you have to have enough pre-thought, or you have to have enough muscle memory, brain memory. You have to have a memory of how to do it built into you, and a coordination would be my argument. So you'd have to have done some talking in your life, I would imagine, for you to fall into it. I don't know. The busyness thing is, just more of a distraction issue, I think. I mean, I guess I would argue that I could have made walk and talk videos. I think when I was a kid delivering newspapers, there was always I was already practicing making YouTube videos in a sense, because you're thinking about all kinds of stuff. Most of the time, yeah, okay, it's personal. You're just fantasizing or daydreaming, or how can I, ask her out, or what should some kind of bullshit like that. Imagining, you're hoping, that kind of thing, whatever. But there was some time devoted to bigger subjects, pondering things, and I just think those would even be. I mean, I can go through every stage of my life and the different points of busyness, and I'd say yes, at the point where you're working two jobs and all of that crap, you don't have the half hour even to wind down to have the conversation. But I'd say all you need is a half hour if you've already done the practicing, if you've already mentally thought about things and have something to say. I think for a lot of people, they don't spend too much time watching politics or watching this or watching that. And so their ignorance is just so expansive that they can't say anything meaningful except some rhetoric they heard in a TV commercial, the death tax, or, some kind of, cliche. They're driven by cliches. And so they just throw cliches around, and there's not much else going to be added to the content by them, because they haven't done enough thinking about the structure of the system or its history or all of that crap to make it possible for them to say anything useful or new or original or any of that crap. You have to do some of that mechanical thinking. I guess I'd argue there's people that are going to be more likely and less likely. And I'm not too sure. Like I said, there's lots of people who, women, for example, for a long time they didn't have the same kind of, work agenda stress. They had the stress of, what shall I polish today, or what shall I dust, or, there's lots of, I don't want to leisure time, but I mean, it wasn't exactly as urgent, or there wasn't quite as much riding on it, and there was not much pressure, so you didn't have to devote your brain to what you were doing. And a lot of the menial kind of tasks do provide a lot of opportunity for thinking. So I mean, that's another thing where some jobs are, I don't know how to. I mean, I sort of enjoyed that about some jobs that were horrible. Like, I was a dishwasher for a year or whatever, and as a kid, and it's just a horrible job in a big restaurant. It's just awful. But it is so mechanical that it provides plenty of time for your brain to just keep going somewhere else, do something else, think about something else, and and what do people think about is the problem, I suppose. The programming just starts off so bad that there's nothing to grow here. It's all weed seeds in terms of their ideas and the constructs in their head. So even if they fertilize that stuff and actually gain some sort of familiarity with the holoculture, They got no seeds. They got all crap seeds. So the only thing that's going to grow is crap. Um, so I guess I'm just saying that I think it's more complicated than um, not having a brain too distracted. But certainly distractions are distractions. I mean, it puts the more you do need a little bit of that downtime. A couple of beers sometimes. I mean, I'd love to have some of the fireside chats I had in my backyard with some of the interesting characters that lived here over the years. Um, those were interesting times in terms of um, weekends and then certain circumstances. It was it became a nightly routine. Um, and there's a lot of value in that. I can think back to when I worked in bars, and you'd be there at 3 in the morning, and um, talking about the meaning of life. And those conversations were pretty rich, so they could have been videoed, and I think they would have been meaningful and relevant and all that kind of crap. So you do have to be in a mindset. You have to get yourself. You either have to do it artificially through mood lighting and lubrication of the mind through intoxicants, or if you're practiced at it, as I would argue some of us are, you just go into the mechanical, analytical processing mode, and you just turn on the take this, put it in the big picture machine, microwave it. You already have you sort of have the process of dissection and thinking, and contextualization, and all these concepts of how to put something in its perspective to be able to convey it in some sort of way, where you have some underlying opinion attached. I mean, I certainly can talk about anything. You can give me any subject and I can put it into a context and make it into some sort of I can make it sound like I gave a shit about the subject. But clearly I mostly make videos about things that I've already thought about, that I think, that there's an underappreciation, for there's an elephant in the room, and there's this elephant over here, and I know none of you people are seeing it, but it's there, and I'm going to try to explain to you why we can prove he's there, kind of thing. But I mean, I definitely have an agenda, which makes those subjects a lot easier because I've obviously spent more time thinking about them. But you do have to think about what you're going to talk about to make sense too. So even if you're busy, you have to be using your imagination space for more than daydreaming and nonsense. There has to be some component of it, some percentage of it has to be devoted to a serious thought now and then. And I think most people do avoid that. Most people don't have that mechanical sense. And I suppose I would argue that I acquired early, in terms of asking these why questions and how questions. And so I was, on a bigger picture than I'm the only thing in the universe kind of bullshit. So, so I guess I don't disagree that distractions are not helpful, but I don't think distractions are completely corrosive. I mean, if you have the time, I mean, obviously you have to have some time. I mean, if you're working 12 hours a day and you're exhausted and you can't even wind down without going to sleep, well, you're not going to be able to make YouTube videos that are going to be of much value, I suppose. But if you have some sort of minimum, I think it's possible. I mean, like I said, the more time you can devote to it, the better. I mean, I'd love to be able to just say, okay, I would love to see what would happen over a 1-year period if I had no other concerns in terms of maintaining my existence except to just sit in my office and think big thoughts. I mean, I'd love to see what would be possible if I could devote, all day to it. It's almost like, I think, if you took somebody with a real brain and gave them 1 year of that project alone, of, resolve why light moves slower through glass. Give us the complete answer. Work on that for 1 year. Unification theories, all that kind of stuff. I just think it could be done. But I think it does have to sort of happen in one brain. I mean, some questions have to be answered in one brain because you have to get all the pieces in one place and put them together. And that's the hard part. Getting all the pieces in one brain is hard to do. All the ingredients. So anyway, it's supposed to be a shorter video than this, but you can just go on and on and on because I'm practiced in connecting ideas and going bigger, going smaller, telescope, microscope, I mean, so I can talk forever, but I could talk forever when I was 10. I mean, talking has never been difficult for me. But anyway, that's probably enough said. So thank you very much. Till next time, and so forth and whatnot. And too bad there's just there's no audience. That's the tragedy of this. Because I see such value in it, and this more amateur kind of what's the true thing, than the professional what the true thing is. Pretty shitty. Because it's all commercially paid for, bought and paid for, propaganda. Anyway, till next time.